This segment is an overview of SipSmart BC, what the program is, and the why and the how we created it. SipSmart BC is a colorful, fun, interactive module designed to help children and families make informed choices about beverages and hopefully reduce their consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages and therefore reduce the incidence of overweight and obesity. SipSmart BC is designed for grades 4, 5, and 6 students, and it is aligned with provincial learning objectives. There are 5 lessons addressing learning outcomes from the health, career, and education segment of the curriculum, and each lesson is around 30 to 40 minutes in length and is aimed to be given approximately every 2 weeks. These are interactive learning sessions with some didactic components with lots of hands-on experience. There are 9 key messages built around making healthy drink choices, and they're all integrated into the lessons. There are 3 prime concepts. One is to be aware of how much sugar you consume in sugar-sweetened beverages, along with other unhealthy ingredients. Also, to recognize that drink choices are influenced by family, friends, and media, and to drink less sugar-sweetened beverages and drink water instead. What SipSmart offers is easy-to-use teaching resources. There are videos to watch with students, and we had workshops that were available for interested teachers to help market the product. A key or core component of the program is the Teacher Resource Guide. This is a 130-page document that gives an overview as to the why of the program. It outlines each of the lessons. It gives backgrounders as well so that teachers get more information on what's being presented. There are other resources such as overheads, handouts, and teacher resources. There are assessment tools. There are extension suggestions to take this into other classes, into the school, into the home, into the community, and there are also links to online resources. Lesson number 1 is entitled Drink Detective, and the key here is to know what and how much you drink. The key message is to know what's in your drink. The size and number of drinks dictates the sugar consumption. There are 3 activities. The first is the sugar shocker, so it introduces the concept of sugar in drinks. And there's also a drink check to note the size and component of the drinks, whether it's fruit juice or actually contains fruit. The second lesson is the sugar lesson, which has 5 activities. It places the drinks within the Canada Food Guide. It stresses that we should be drinking water. It reviews the drink diary that was calculated in the previous class. It gives the scoop on sugar, which is the activity number 4, which is shown in this slide, where the students actually see the number of cubes of sugar that are in each of the different drinks that they may be consuming. The third lesson is that consuming sugar-sweetened beverages isn't only about sugar. There are 4 activities. One is to review the drink report, where the kids kept a diary of what they were drinking and how often. There's also an activity which stresses how useful nutrient components are being bumped out or displaced by drinking sugar-sweetened beverages, and that is what this slide shows. There's also a component about caffeine intake, and in lesson 3 is one of the more popular components, which is the tooth experiment, where a piece of bone or tooth is submersed in various drinks such as pop or juice or water for a week or so, and then the kids get to check and see exactly what happens to this piece of bone or tooth when it's immersed and how it dissolves in the sugary drinks. The 4th lesson is a review of the tooth experiment. You can see in this slide what happens to the tooth, how it turns brown and begins to decay when in the energy drink and in the pop, but how it remains unscathed in water. And the children also do another drink report where they compare how much sugar they drank at the start of the program to how much sugary beverages they were drinking at the end of the program. The 5th lesson is entitled Think Before You Drink. And in this lesson, Children learn what influences their drink choices, how they are influenced by family, friend, and the media. They also analyze the media messaging around sugar-sweetened beverages. And the third activity is to actually make an ad for water, extolling its virtues. And on this slide you see one of the posters made by the students. One of the key components of the program are these posters, which are available to be put up in the class. These are glossy posters with high production values. They detail the amount of sugar and sugar cubes found in the various beverage choices, and it is a real eye-opener for most of the students and teachers. There are drink cutouts, which have the nutrition facts for the beverages on the back. There is also a fact sheet, which we had printed up in 10 different languages to send home for the parents. And on the fact sheets, we mentioned that sugary drinks are everywhere, that the extra calories in sugary drinks add up quickly, and that if you have healthy foods and healthy drinks, you will build the body that's just right for you. And in fact, on the fact sheet and the parent component are the only times that calories are mentioned within the program. We were directed by the teachers and the school nutritionists to avoid any conversation about calories or obesity when discussing with the children. A core component of the program is this booklet for families, which is sent home. It is a 12-page booklet, which we think is critical to the success of the program, as it is parents and caregivers who dictate beverage choices within the home, and that's where most sugar-sweetened beverages are consumed. In this booklet for the families, we make explicit the link between sugar-sweetened beverages and unhealthy weights, and we link good health with good learning. One of the things that we found from our market research with parent support groups and parent focus groups was that parents are more concerned with the effect sugar-sweetened beverages have on learning than they are on excessive weight gain. In the booklet for families are also tips on encouraging children to drink healthy choices such as water or milk. So the program, as it rolled out, well, we began with our funding allocation in the fall of 2006, and we got underway developing the program by January of 2007. By the spring of 2008, we piloted in 15 classrooms, and were able to make adjustments in the program in an iterative fashion, and in fall of 2008 did a rollout into 114 classrooms. The rollout was very successful, not as to a small degree in part due to the fact that we had the program taught by paid facilitators. At this time there were 3 one-hour sessions given every 6 to 8 weeks, and the teachers simply had to allow the facilitators to come into the classroom, deliver the program, and the program was totally integrated with the curriculum so that no other schoolwork was being displaced. We then developed the teacher resource guide, which is mentioned earlier in this slideshow, and we piloted that with 10 teachers, and now that's been rolled out across the province. So our reach has been to over 230 classrooms, or over 6,500 students. Well, why are we doing this? Well, there's a very strong link between sugar-sweetened beverage consumption and unhealthy weight gain in children. And in fact, it is a major contributor to the epidemic of childhood obesity. Each 355 ml serving of a sugar-sweetened beverage increases the risk of a child becoming obese by 60%. This is probably due in part to the fact that sugar-sweetened beverages are very poor at making one feel full or inducing satiety, and people will eat as much food after drinking the sugar-sweetened beverages as they would had they drank water. So in fact, in some studies, people will even eat more after a soft drink than they would having drank water. So all those extra calories are saved as fat. Now, sugar-sweetened beverages are a major concern in Canada, as we average 66 liters per person per year. And there's a bimodal distribution to this intake. Some Canadians drink very little, and some are drinking a lot. And StatsCan data indicates that 50% of Canadian male teens reported having 700 mils of a sugar-sweetened beverage the previous day. So that would be around 280 to 300 calories, and that same 15-year-old would have to jog about 45 minutes to wear off those calories. The sugar-sweetened beverage SipSmart program was inspired in part by a successful program reported in the British Medical Journal in 2004, published by James et al., and her program was entitled Ditch the Fizz. This was a school-based program that was studied with a cluster-controlled trial, and it indicated that they were able to reduce sugar-sweetened beverage consumption and reduce the incidence of unhealthy weights. We held a conference call with James, and one of the things that we had thought about and she reaffirmed was that it was very, very important to include a parent component into SipSmart, and that was one of the regrets she had, is that her intervention did not have a parent component. One of the keys to successful SipSmart program was the existence of the BC Healthy Living Alliance. This is a coalition of health promoting NGOs who work together to formulate a common vision for health promotion strategy in British Columbia. They articulated this vision in a 2005 Winning Legacy document and requested a funding grant from government for health promotion. The provincial government responded through the auspices of a program called Act Now, and gave the BCHLA a $25 million grant in 2006. And the BC Pediatrics Society and the Heart and Stroke Foundation of BC and Yukon received $1.1 million to create, pilot, and disseminate SipSmart. And the BCHLA, in its wisdom, also decided that it would be important to have an evaluation component to the program, which I think was a very wise move, period. So from concept to product, we consulted extensively with the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education, with community nutritionists and teachers, so that from the outset we had a good idea of what they thought would be useful in a school-based program and what areas to avoid, such as conversations about calories and obesity. Key message to us was that if we wanted to integrate a sugar-sweetened beverage reduction program into the school, it had to be compatible with the school curriculum to have a good uptake with teachers. We then developed the classroom modules plus the parent handbook, and as mentioned earlier, in the student component we had to avoid the term calories and any mention of excessive weight gain. We were fortunate in dissemination that within BC there was an existing program of healthy school coordinators that had linkages to the schools and were funded by the Ministry of Education. We also had a large enough grant that we had funds available for marketing, and very importantly is the existence of a program called Action Schools BC in BC, which we could use as a conduit. This is an effective program on physical activity and nutrition with high penetration into the schools. In addition, we were able to facilitate marketing of SipSmart with our link with the Heart and Stroke Foundation and their program Heart Smart Kids. Also very important was the fact that we had paid facilitators to deliver the program in the classroom, and this allowed teachers to cover key learning objectives without making any extra work for themselves. So we had, as I mentioned earlier, over 200 schools and 6,000 students in the initial launch. So the overall keys to success was the initial coordinated approach to government by the BCHLA, and that avoided competition between groups for government funding. The grant was sufficient in terms of resources for us to do it right. We were able to hire a professional, very competent project manager, and that enabled professional execution of the project with very good product at the end. We thoroughly consulted with our various stakeholders, and we had iterative improvements to the product. In fact, we did 3 different iterations, improving it each time. We have multimedia elements, and we have funds for ongoing marketing. and one can't underestimate the importance of having champions with passion. Then after we had implemented the SipSmart program, the Childhood Obesity Foundation became part of the Collaborative Action on Childhood Obesity. We received a CLASP grant, and then we joined up with Heart and Stroke Foundation in Quebec, the CQPP in Quebec as well, CDPAC, and their representatives from the Northwest Territorial Government, and put forward a proposal to then contextualize the SipSmart program for the Quebec situation as well as for Northwest Territories, and that is the upcoming portion of this show. For further information on SipSmart BC, you can visit the website of the BC Pediatric Society and click Contact Us.